So, today we're going to quickly and effectively dissect one of the Democrats' most often repeated tropes, the leftist economic gimmick. And yes, even though this gimmick has existed for over 100 bloody years, probably a lot longer, though I'm just not aware of the timescale, but how on earth does it persist for over 100 years? Well, over 100 years includes many a generation, and it turns out ignorant stupidity travels really well over the many decades, seeing as you don't need to bloody well do anything to get said piss poor results. But anyway. So the triangle cornerstone of their trick relies on three things: the zero-sum fallacy, economic ignorance, and economic reality itself. And they aren't equally important, mind you. If people wise up and away from economic ignorance, their whole plan actually falls to pieces. So, in our society, we have three parties at play. There's us the consumer, us the producer, and then there's this hideous entity, full of unproductive wankers called politicians who make up said entity known as the state. You will hear this every single time. Politicians will talk about the shrinking middle class, about the rich needing to pay their fair share, otherwise known as the Bernie Sanders line of bullshittery. Yes, a bunch of parasites who contribute fuck all to society and steal everyone else's money are going to be the arbiters of what is fair. What a joke. Their gimmick is this group here, the rich, make too much money. And if we, the politicians whose Senate runs are funded by those same rich people, by the way, tax those campaign funding people, it's somehow going to be spent on all kinds of government goodies that will improve the standard of living for the regular American citizen. Is that what happens? No, of course not. And anyone who thinks this is said economically ignorant idiot. What actually happens is the rich hide their money and everyone else gets squeezed like blood from a damn stone. Here's the reality that even Joe Biden has admitted to. When the middle class does well, the rich do well as well. As a matter of fact, the rich does even better when the middle class does well, because it turns out the state taking less money results in a growing economy. Who'd have fucking thought? Not a surprise though, seeing as the middle class spends their newly high earned income on their goods. So why do politicians not tout this as a win? I mean, the state actually generates more money in this way, and the middle class gets richer. What gives? Simple. There's no political power in letting citizens keep their money and gain independence, so they screw everyone else out of their earnings. It's because the Democrats actually hate you, and they want your money to impoverish you and then claim they're looking out for your best interests. It's a simple campaign gimmick. Here's how it works. The Democrats, in their typical elitism, relies on the average voter to be thick as a plank and completely uninformed of basic economics. As such, they push the zero-sum fallacy. Someone must lose so that someone else can gain. This is completely at odds with free market capitalism, by the way, which has both parties come to the table mutually, and everyone is better off for reaching an agreement that benefits both parties. The shady Democrats, however, their main aim is to point solely to the gains made by the rich, never by the middle class. If the middle class does well, and the rich does even better when the middle class does well, couple that with the ignorance of the average voter, they will contort economic reality and focus exclusively on the tax cuts making the rich even wealthier, without paying one damn bit of attention to how this benefits everyone else in society. Ironically, the very success of the policy they're attacking is what sustains their gimmick perfectly and allows its continuation indefinitely, giving them a permanent cornerstone of an issue to campaign on. And that's it. That's how easily that cheap trick is done. Just a simple shift of attention towards only one group of people, those dirty bunch of bastards. But this is not new, by the way. Hell, I'll link an article I just read yesterday, which shows, according to the IRS income data, the biggest beneficiaries of Trump's tax cuts were in fact the middle class. And the richest people, in fact, paid a larger percentage of the state's overall revenue. It's almost like this pattern of success has been tried in the past, under Coolidge, Kennedy, Reagan, Bush, and now Trump as well. It's almost like there's this thing of objective economic reality. Make no mistake, however, the Democrats have no intention of adhering to any sort of reality, let alone the economic one. All we have to do is take a look at the White House approval numbers. And that's all for today. Until next time.